better, huh?
Well, I tell you,
Crazy
feel
son of a
very
gun.
good this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary.
Run around the block, haven't you? Well, I'm not running too far. At 84.
You're brand new, Mr. Gary. You are brand new.
Donovan.
Huh?
Donovan, he's going to go steelhead fishing with us tomorrow.
Oh, isn't he?
We're going to pick him up, take him down to Class 9.
I heard the star of the show wasn't going to be here this morning, so I showed up late.
Good, smart man.
Let's go by the dam. We made 2 passes for like 2 bites. That's it. If it sucks down there and if you're feeling okay, we'll go downriver, mess around for a little bit. If not, we'll stay there and we'll just work it for a little bit.
Wherever you want to, wherever we go catch fish, let's go.
Let's go check it out. Come on, Lord bless you. Gary Loomis.
A little reel on it.
You ever used one of them rods before?
Once or twice.
Good?
Once or twice, Jared.
Hey,
65. Yep.
this isn't the way we fished last time.
Nope. Bunch of bait robbers in the water right now. Hey, you got a fish. Fish right there.
Boy, huh?
No, I'm snagged again.
Oh, is it? Just open it. Oh, that's something.
Oh,
That's a fish. That's fish.
It's gonna come out.
off of the back rod?
Oh yeah, that's a fish.
Woo!
Oh my god, that's a big ass walleye.
Oh, yeah, baby. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
On that little thing.
Nice, doesn't
Caitlin, put that pole back. And I'm Let's go.
I told you we needed a bigger net. That's just getting started.
Go ahead and throw it in there, Caleb. We'll leave that thing out.
Eddie still can't hear after the hearing.
Still can't hear, brother. Don't matter. We did a GoFundMe, a fun thing, raiser for Eddie for hearing aids.
Yeah.
We raised $4,000.
Wow.
And the son of a gun still can't hear.
Yeah, don't feel bad. I got 2 sets and they don't work either. One of them sitting on my stand at home and the other one's in my bedroom.
How would I ever thought in my life that I'd be fishing with the man, bro?
I already know.
With
I
the
just
man.
know. I if he had seen
Come
that
on,
video,
dude.
man. Well, he told his story how he met you and stuff, and
Yeah.
it was pretty cool.
I had my blue, I still remember, it was a baby navy blue hat with like a neon yellow G. Loomis emblem,
Yeah.
the fish emblem, and it was the embroidered one that popped out.
Yeah.
And I remember I was getting in Ron's boat, and I said, "Hey, good morning, Clancy," and I was walking around the Lewis fishing the Cedar Creek,
Cedar Creek boy.
and I was getting there, and I said, "Hey, good morning, Clancy," and I was walking over to Ron's, and he goes, "Hey, nice hat you got on there." I said, "Hey, man, thanks a lot, man. It's my good luck hat." And I get in Ron's boat, and then Ron goes, "Hey, did you see who that was?" I go, "No, who's that?" He goes, "That's Gary Loomis." Shit. I got out the boat, went over there and introduced myself. And the rest is history, brother. And ever since then, man,
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I did everything I could just to talk to him, man. Hell yeah.
We enjoy every minute of it.
I love it
Oh,
here.
yeah.
That's awesome. I was looking forward to fishing you guys, man. You want some water? You want anything to get
Not right, in just a minute.
Okay, no. Listen, stay dehydrated, my friend.
Stay
Yes.
dehydrated?
Hydrated.
Oh.
Dehydrated, hydrated, whatever that shit is.
You're bad for Gary, bro.
You don't even like
It was like way back at Lima Glass days.
Yeah.
I made a enclosed handle for spinning where, you know, you had your hand on just cork. And I made that, and we put it on the cover of Lima Glass's catalog. 2 years later, Fenwick did it. And it was a big deal. Oh, Jesus, Fenwick's got this new enclosed handle and da-da-da-da-da. I looked at it. I said, shit, we did that 2 years ago. No, this is Fenwick's new handle. No, we did it 2 years ago. They didn't believe it till I got our catalog out and showed them the catalog front cover. And they said, you did it 2 years ago.
Fenwick was the big rod when you were making huh? I remember you told me that.
Fenwick was God.
Yeah. You told me you were at a show or something. And you said you had a pole, you were going to go show it, and you walked over to the Fenwick booth, the rod, and you picked it up, and you put it back down. And I was like, why'd you put it back down? Gary goes, I wasn't there yet. I already knew.
It wasn't light enough.
And these were light.
Yeah.
And in fact, they were probably 4 or 5 times lighter than glass rods at that time. So I go to the owners of Lima Glass. I said, we got to get into graphite. They said, what's graphite? I said, I don't know. But I do know if we're not in graphite in 2 years, we're out of business. That's how impressed I was with those rods.
Right.
So when I came home, I went to the Seattle Library. I said, I want to know everything about graphite. Now remember, you guys are so spoiled. You got internet,
Yeah, I remember you said that
Google,
too.
and shit. We didn't have any of that stuff. We had to go
Library.
dig it up. Yeah. So I go to the library, and Seattle Library, good sized library. I go to the woman who's running, and I said, okay, I want to see everything about graphite. Well, we got through graphite for batteries and graphite for locks and doors and no, carbon fiber.
Oh, yes.
Carbon fiber graphite. Oh,
What's that?
one paragraph in a National Geographic in the front said, Courtauld Company of England invented a new high modulus, high strain fiber, graphite in parentheses, carbon fiber. That was it.
Wow.
So how do you find out about it? But when there
There's
is
nothing about it.
Yeah. And what it was is when graphite came out, Fenwick was God in the industry, so the company took it to Fenwick. So I looked, and finally I just says, God damn it, we're only about 20 miles from Boeing's. Somebody at Boeing's knows about it. So I stand in the employee line of Boeing, and everybody coming out. I say, you know anything about graphite? You know everything about. He said, hell, wasn't you here yesterday? And I'm going to be here tomorrow. Somebody knows about. He said, well, go over to gate C. Go over to gate C. That's where the engineers come out. Gate C. 4th or 5th guy through the gate, Harry Matheson, one of 3 or 4 composite engineers in the whole world. Now there's a couple 100,000 of them, but at that time there was only 3 or 4 composite engineers in the whole world.
3 or 4?
3 or 4. I took him to dinner. I picked him up for breakfast. I took him to lunch. I picked him up for dinner. I was like a human vacuum cleaner learning it, and finally got him to help me. But Boeing's was looking to make the SST. It was like the Concorde. And so they was making up their SST and the Concorde. They had to have graphite in them to be able to make them, you know. And so he says, if they decide to make the SST, I won't have time to help you, but I'll sure help you up until then. So we got him to help us, and we did make the first graphite rods with some graphite that they had at Boeing's. And if you grab the tip and came 6 inches back and you lifted it off, the rod would break. So he said, what we're going to need a structural designer engineer and a computer designer engineer. And I'm a composite engineer, and we'll take the small scale deflection computer program system for the wings of the 747. It's only wrote to 7 degrees, because after 7 degrees the wing breaks off, so they don't need it anymore. I wanted it 360 degrees. There was only 3 computers in the whole world at that time that would run this program. Boeing's had one, 3M had one, and the military had one. That was the only 3 computers. And I mean, we pushed that computer to a point of time that we had to take the nuts out, start it over, because the computer still wasn't big enough to run that whole program. So we run the program, and we decided that graphite has to be designed completely different than glass. Fenwick didn't have the knowledge to design graphite glass, and that's what they did, large diameter, thin wall. The elongation of glass, how far it'll stretch before it breaks, 3%. Graphite in those days, 0.4. So it didn't take, so we had to go small diameter so that it didn't stretch as far. But with the modulus at 36 million instead of 6 million, it was so stiff that it held the deal. So theirs were about 4 or 5 times lighter, or 5 or 6. Just the modulus says you could build them 6 times lighter. And so we could only build them 3 times lighter because of the way that it was then on the modulus material. So we started designing them, and I mean I'd work 8 hours at the blank plant running glass blanks, and then would go to the office that we had set up for advanced composite. What was that?
I don't know.
Fish.
Yeah.
Jump.
Fish jumped right there.
Yeah, he needs to go jump on one of these rods.
Yeah.
Till farther than day right now.
It's like we're gonna
So
just
anyway- So anyway, was working another 6-8 hours afterwards designing graphite. So because the owners didn't want to do graphite, because they didn't want to invest any money in it, because it was so new and we knew nothing about it, I didn't even hear it. I just went full steam ahead designing graphite and doing it myself and with these people. And so all of a sudden, about 3 months before the show, we've got our rods. We got like 36 rods all designed and stuff. But Fenwick is having 96 to 98% breakage.
Ooh.
I mean, their rods were just breaking because it was designed completely wrong. Well, now, Fenwick was God at that time.
Yeah.
And now I've got to go sell Lima glass rods against Fenwick rods that are breaking, that are God in the industry.
Yeah.
So I decided what I needed to do was to sell graphite if it's designed and built correctly. So I made a little box, 8 inches square, out of 1/8 mahogany plywood, put a 5-pound hunk of lead in it, put a cable up through the box. I took our 9-foot 8-weight fly rod, that if you put it vertically and you hung weight on it, it would take 11 1/4 pounds before it would break. Now a fiberglass fly rod at that time, maybe 3 pounds.
Oh, wow.
That's all it would take. So I got a big plastic deal, bowl, a whole bunch of little deals, and I said, if graphite is a great material to make fishing rods out of, if it's designed and built correctly. These rods are designed off of a large-scale deflection computer program system that Boeing's made off the wings of the 747. If you want to take this rod, try to lift the weight in the box, guess how much weight is in the box. At the end of the show, I'm giving the rod, reel, and line away to whoever guesses the closest. And I'm right on 1/4. Well, every time we do that, somebody comes up to do it, I got 15, 20 people around me watching the guy try to lift the weight. About 20% of the men could lift it with one hand, and maybe only 30% of them could lift the weight with 2 hands. I mean, it was hard. 11-foot rod takes the purchase away from us and puts it on the weight. 7-foot rod would have been a lot easier to lift it. I got a 9-foot.
Yeah.
So we do this, and I don't know. I ended up with addresses from 836 people at the end of the show. The last show was on Friday or Sunday. big tall guy come by. I told him the whole story, and he just kind of flexed the rod like this a little bit. He said, "Nice rod, Sonny." And I said, "No, you got to lift the weight in the box. Guess how much the weight is? We're giving the rod and the reel away. You got to lift the weight in the box." So he lifted a little harder. "Yeah, it's a nice rod." So I said, "No, you got to lift the weight in the box." He says, "Well, I don't want to break your rod." I said, "You won't break the rod. The rod will lift 6 pounds vertical." He said, "That rod won't lay 3 pounds vertical." Well, we're arguing back and forth, and I look up. Shit, there's 300 people standing around us. I take another look at the guy, Ted Williams, the baseball player.
That's who it was?
That's who it was. He started to lift it again, and I said, "Well, Ted, if you can't lift it, I'll lift it for you." Bad thing to say.
Oh, shit.
He reached over with the other hand. He didn't lift just the weight. He lifted the box this high off the ground. He set the box down. He lifted up.
Fish right there. Get it.
Yeah, that's a fish. Get it. Eddie, you better go net it, Ed.
Finally, this rod is popping off.
Oh, another walleye. Another walleye. That's a walleye. That's a walleye. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice.
Wow. He's putting the hurt on us.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, he lifted the box up.
So he lifts the box off the ground. He sets it down and he yells out, "This is a hell of a rod!" Well, shit. We had the whole all the people left their booth and everything else and came around. And he said, "Gary, I never believed that. A fly rod, fiberglass won't lift 3 pounds vertical." I says, "To break the rod, it takes 11 1/4 pounds vertical to break it. It breaks about this high from the." He bought 11 rods from us that year.
Damn.
And I'm telling you, overnight with that little thing there, Lima glass graphite rods went sell. We sold them to everybody, and
Good job,
breakage was no
work.
deal, no problem.
How many companies did you like participate or own?
Well, I started out as a machinist, working for a machine shop. Then I started making custom rods myself because they put summer runs down in the lower Columbia, and we had no rods for those type of fish. I mean, we had winter steelhead rods, so hell, we had to go down to 4 and 6 pound test line to get them to bite later on in the summer.
Right.
So I got a 9-foot 6-weight fly rod, drilled the butt out, extended the handle, cut the bottom 3 guides off, put spinning guides on it, and that's what I used. And hell, my wife was selling 4 or 5 of them at $200 a piece a week. I was running a machine shop, she was making more money than I was. This was 66.
66?
66, yeah.
And you're selling them for $200 a piece.
Yeah, and I was buying finished fiberglass fly rods for $35 from the store.
Yep. He says, "Nope, I won't sell it."
Whoa!
And then he says,
Well, what happened was I was the only one that had one because I made it, from the ground floor up. As the water was clearing up, I started out with 12-pound test line, and then all of a sudden it cleared up. I couldn't get them to bite. 10, 8, 6, I could start to get them to bite. Then later on, we had to go to 4. I was, on steelhead fishing, first one in's got 90% better chance than the second one in. But I was getting a little cocky because I was catching 10, 15, 20 fish a night.
Yeah.
And there was maybe only 6 or 7 caught from the Monroe Bridge down to Tidewater, and I was catching 8 or 10 of them. I found out pretty quick, 10-pound test, even use strong little shits, can't hold it out like this and break it. But you can that way. So it wasn't the pull that was breaking this fish, it was the shock. As soon as it came up against that fast taper in that Fenwick,
Yeah.
so I needed a shock absorber. So I bought a fly rod, extended the handle, put spinning guides on it. So anyway, by about August, last of July, I was going down the river and didn't worry about it because I knew I fished. Well, I started fishing the 28th of May, fished the rest of May, all of June, all of July, all of August, till the 7th of September, and missed 3 nights of fishing. I'd leave work at 4:30. I'd be on the river at 11 minutes to 5, and I'd fish till dark. So pretty soon you look out and you say, oh, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. Well, after you fish it 150 times, the fish only lay there.
Yeah.
So by that time, I'm just going down, picking the fish out of each hole and just going on down. So I get to this one hole, there's 4 guys fishing, and I always catch 2 fish in it. There's 4 guys fishing, and 1 guy's rigging up on the shore. So I stopped and talked to him. And pretty soon another guy broke off right where one lays. I said, do you mind if I take a couple casts? He said, nah, go ahead. So I walk out there, first cast I hooked the fish. End over end. Well, I found out it takes as long to hook the fish and get it into this shallow of water as it does this shallow of water onto the beach. So I learned how I could pull it right across the end of my boot, get that son of a big 20 feet up on bank, snap him off midair, not waste all that time. Now my rigs are rigging up, pull another one out, tie it on, bait it up. I think I took 2 or 3 casts. I hooked the second one, did the same thing, and I grab him, I start down the river. The guy says, hold it, what are you doing? Well, I said, I'm going home. He said, that's not what I meant. He says, you come down here every night we're here, 2, 3, 4 casts, you catch 2 fish, and down the river you go every night. Now what the hell you doing? Well, things he let me catch my 2 fish, I wanted to be kind of nice. I says, look at your rods. They're too short, they're too stiff, they're too heavy, your line's too heavy, your hooks are too big, your lead's too much, and you got too big a baits. Other than that, you're doing fine.
Everything?
He said, where'd you get that rod? I said, I made it. He says, make me one. I said, I don't make rods, I just fish. No, make me one. I said, no, listen, I don't make rods. He says, how much you got in that rod? I said, I got $35 in about 6 hours. He says, I'll give you $100 for it. I made $92.10 a week take home. Is all I made running a machine shop.
$92.
$92.10 a week take home. He's going to give me 100. I says, I don't sell my wife, I don't sell my kids, I don't sell my dog. I'm sure in the hell not going to sell you my steel that. He says, I'll give you $150. I said, no. He says, I'll give you $200 for it. I says, let me take my reel off. So
Fighting it, Gary, you were fighting it.
I did. He gave me 2 $100 bills in 1965. I didn't even know in 65 they made $100 bills.
Wow.
I got $200 in my hand. I'm staggering up the beach, going to my car, go down to Manchester's. Now that was not one day I missed. I caught my fish that day. Went down to Manchester's, bought another rod, went home, fixed it up, and I'm back the next day. The next day I pull in where I always park. Then another guy parked there. What the hell's he doing parking in my spot? So I pulled up next to him, got my stuff, and I said, hold it. You the guy selling rods? I said, no, not me. No, I heard the guy that's selling rods parks right here where I'm parked. Not me. He said, well, do you know Al Hellenberg? Yes, I know Al Hellenberg. He said, you're selling $200 rods, $200 a piece. I said, let me take my reel off. That was the first night I missed. So I went down and I bought 2 rods, and I showed my wife how to make them. She started making rods, and I kept fishing.
That's awesome.
So that's how I got started in that.
That's cool.
If you could go back, Gary, and do it again, what would you do different?
That's a fish. Hit the net. Yep, I swear.
Oh yeah, you got yourself a walleye.
I want to say it's a shad.
That's a walleye.
It's a walleye. Get ready. What do you want to shave for? I don't want to shave. Maybe I'll eat even. Okay. Walleye. Nice. Damn. Well, let's see on that little glass.
Diamond Glass was the first company, and then I left there and started Loomis Composites, and then I left there. We started Loomis Franklin Company in Taiwan,
Wow.
and then G Loomis, and then Targus, and then Edge. Well, we really started North Fork Composites first.
If you could give advice to a young person trying to be as leave a legacy as big as you did, what advice would you give them?
You pick what you want, and you. I got to tell you,
Yeah, you did.
I mean, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was sanding blanks on Christmas Eve because I had to get the blanks out.
Right?
You know, you just do. And a good thing was I loved what I did. I mean, I loved being a machinist, and I loved making fishing rods and blanks and this type of stuff. And so I really started out because I wanted to catch more fish than anybody else. I knew the better the rigging I had, the more fish I could catch.
Right.
But then it got to the point in time that you just wanted more and better and more and better. And this is what really the reason I left G Loomis was they had lost that.
Gary, what the hell? What's up
Oh,
with that?
way to go. He did that just so it messed me up.
Ooh, it's a good walleye. Nice walleye. It's nice and slow, nice and easy, nice and easy.
Look, Gary, soup, Eddie.
Ooh, damn.
Another
That
big
is
fish.
a nice freaking fish.
All boneless already.
Cajun.
Oh, hell yeah. That part of the West is the best.
Yeah.